Hey, good morning and good evening. It's Michael and Texas Jake. It's been a while since I've posted anything. Last thing I think I was talking about was how I was not showing any biases towards any particular country, and that I went international to see if the crisis of dating online and LDRs was just something that was done in one country any differently than it was in the other. Well, much to my chagrin or surprise, for those that don't know what that is, I did wind up talking for only a month this time with a different Filipina. And of course, we quickly talk about the relationship and how things are going to manifest and what direction we both hope that they would go in. And just to keep it in short, I approached the parents of this particular woman who was up in age. She was, I believe, 39-year-old Filipina with one child. Parents were going to adopt this child, so she didn't have that as far as maybe a responsibility that would be immediate, or maybe that she would be recognized as a potential mate or spouse if the child was away from her and being raised by her own parents. So anyway, I'll make a long story short, I'm older than her, of course, and that didn't seem to bother her at the time, but I wanted to clear that with her parents, so I did have a conversation with them via Zoom. And of course, they told me that she was a wonderful person, a little naughty is what they said. And well, in that length of time, we got into it over a TikTok advertisement of hers, where she basically is just dancing. Look at all this snow, guys. For those of you that don't know what snow is, this has been cleared away, but just to give you an idea what it's like. Anyway, in short, everything by way of her parents, her mother, who was divorced or widowed, was with an Australian who raised this particular person up from a younger age, and also her mother, who was taking the lead in that Zoom conversation, which should have been an indicator to me that that's the way it goes with some of the Philippine women, is that they want to take charge, they want the lead. And I had a conversation with this particular person about stuff like that, and she was very adamant to say, and like, that's the way it goes, and that's the way it is here, so that should be in this Tompo stuff, probably withholding affection, if that is your weakness, they wouldn't, get together with you if they don't get their ways, the way it would seem from this particular one. Now, this is the second one. Other one was about a bogus annulment, and then this one. Anyway, when I mentioned the TikTok and that she was dancing and flashing signs and making gestures with her tongue and, sexy poses, as well as the lyrics in the background of the music was, I guess it's a common song, I guess, but it's talking about, can you stay up all night? And it didn't mean eating popcorn and watching Netflix, but there was dollar signs that were flashes, 35 or 45. And then she puts the thumbs up. I said, I didn't think that was a good Christian song to be dancing to. And I also assumed that a lot of those types of videos that she was making were for my viewing and not for the world. But come to find, long story short, after even speaking with her parents and getting permission to court her, here's how it went. We got into a fuss, not much was said except that that's the way it is. And I'm not going to change anything for you, that I was all of a sudden an old man, and that because I wouldn't, kowtow to her reasoning, then I became dirty-tongued because I said a woman or that can control a man, you know, either withholding or giving affection, was, I used the word pussy whipped. Then she said I had a bad tongue. I was a desperate old man. And by the way, ha ha ha, she says to me that she's had a 6-month, almost like an engagement, I guess, with a gentleman in California that was a soldier. And I thought that was really something, you know, that I was getting this woman's attention only to find out that she was already involved with somebody else. But then I listen to some of the others that are on the YouTubes, and what they say is, what's wrong with that? And this is where it's very contradicting and confusing, is that they call us a chickie boy if we go there and want to not necessarily lay down with all these women, but see where their heads are at, where their hearts are at, what their intentions are. You're a chickie boy. But then they got 10 guys, or 10, 2, 3, doesn't matter. And then the expats that are there say that that's okay. What's wrong with that? You know, they're exploring their options, or what's wrong with it is that you're making commitments and promises to whomever shows up to get the prize. And really, I don't think any man that's got any sense would want to show up wondering if he's got this woman's full attention, or if when he leaves, if the next one behind him shows up, then he's the boss now. See, and that is not marriage material, in my opinion. That is something you stay away from. And I was really surprised. You know, I'm a half Hispanic person, and I grew up with a culture where you do approach the parents, you go see who's who and what's what. And when you get permission from the parent, you'd think that the parent would, advise this person that you better hold on to that one. And instead, they're giving permission, but the other guy that probably didn't ask for it is the one that she's looking at and hanging on to. So ha is what I got. See, and I don't think that people from any country would want to show up to a country and meet a young lady, and then at the end of the day that you're just an old man, and there's more fish in the sea, whatever you want to call it, that's their attitude or their take on it. Or if you don't give them what they want, then they can kick you to the curb. Well, if they have stereotypes for men in the Philippines, calling them chickie boys because they want to explore their options, what do we call them that do that? Are they also stereotyped? Yes. And purposes of these YouTubes and things like that are for educational purposes in some ways. And what I would want to say to anybody as far as educating you is that it's slim to none that you're not going to find somebody in this world. You will. And there's going to be good and bad in everywhere you go. But if that's what you're looking for, is somebody that would betray you and do it with a straight face, or use their acting skills and show you how easy it is to cry or to show remorse. They're only really, it seems like, hanging on, if they hang on at all, is for when things are bad. They got not one guy to turn to, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do you call that? What do you call that? If I'm a chickie boy, because I would want to see who's who and what's what, even if I showed up there, that makes me somebody that wants them all. I don't want them all. I want one good one. And it's just so hard looking elsewhere when there's a lot of lonely people in the world, in the United States, Canada, all over. And if you have to go through that kind of bullshit, and have people tell you that your age doesn't matter and that you're a good-looking person or you're not, but then you have to go through that maze of what's what and who's who. Wow, there's a big hole in the ground. Look at that. Someone took a sewer cap off or something. Guess that's so when this stuff melts, it's going to be a lot of water. All right, Michael and Texas Jake. I just had to tell you that. Sorry that it turned out that way. I don't have the best of luck, I guess, with these Filipinas. You know, I don't know if they're being honest or deceitful. And if their reason is for hunger or for prosperity or getting up in the world, I think those types of women are really hurting your culture by playing games. I think they'd just be straight up. Look, I'm exploring my options. I'm talking to many guys, and the one that does show up is the one that's going to have my heart. Would be better, even though it's the truth. I'm sure you wouldn't get anyone to invest time into that. Not too many anyway, especially if there's a lot of expense involved. And that's really where it's at. You know what I mean? It's all about the coin, unfortunately. And I just think it's best for a lot of people just to clear their minds of just going there and finding wife material. You know, because those women have been on the phone with many guys. They have limitations as far as their ability to call and FaceTime. You have to be careful. You know, be really careful, because I was shocked that I could go to the parent like that's expected. That is like a traditional and an expectation in that country, to ask mom and dad for permission, or to meet them at least. And at best, you know, she's a little naughty. You know, I guess I should have been forewarned. A little naughty means that these women will gyrate and jump around and shake it and stick their tongue out and do everything. And I guess they think in the Western culture that, sex sells, right? I guess they're on top of that. But it's a lure, and it's one that should be avoided. You know, they stay up till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning in the Philippines, talking with other suitors. You know, I mean, it's almost like they got 10 phones in front of them, and as long as there's load on one of them, they just pick up whichever one is going to be available, and keep doing that until one pays out, or pans out, I should say, or both. Be careful. All right, Michael, Texas Jake, and we're in the snowist. The snow is everywhere. You can see. It's, I guess the Philippines sounds good for that reason right about now. But other than that, I would, if you're going to visit, go for the waterfalls and the different colored waters and the food. And I would just stay clear of these women that are going to make a lot of false promises and idle wishes, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't think that they really have a plan other than to get in your pocket and not stay in your heart. Because, in this country, I've always been taught you make lemonade out of lemons. And I believe that has to do with a little bit of sugar, and there's nothing sweet about just the lemon, by itself. It might have some medicinal properties, but I don't know, guys. And for you girls that are doing that, shame on you and on your family, on your house. What you're doing is you're creating a void, a gap, a distance between good-hearted men and women that have ill intent. Or if you want to say to them, it's they have good intentions, but you have to show up. And so this over the phone stuff, this LDR stuff, that's just a bunch of fake people giving false promises and hopes in order to get in your pocket. And that's my analysis of it. And I don't think I'm alone in that, and I'm certainly not alone in the aspect that some of you have found a good one. But I think you can do that anywhere. If you're really, really looking that hard, you don't have to go that far. All right, that's it. Again, bye.